Hey, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to New Leaf Unveiled. Again, my name is Devan Stockland. Hope everyone's doing okay. And if not, just know you're doing better than those who wasn't able to see today. So let's just always keep that in mind. This is episode 2, which is long overdue. I was supposed to kick this episode out a couple of weeks ago and just didn't. I had a conversation yesterday with someone, and boom, that was just a confirmation to go ahead and do my episode 2. And so we here. Episode 2, the name of this episode is Begin Again. Keep up with the theme for a new year for 2024. Came up with the concept Begin Again. And I'm going to start with a quote for Begin Again. You can never start over, but you can always begin again. I say that again. You can never start over, but you can always begin again. And that was just something that just, been on my mind, for the longest. Just living life and going through things, learning new things. It's just one thing you come to see. We can never start over, but we can always begin again, just in reference to situations and in relationships, whether that's intimate relationships, whether that's business relationships, friends, family, whatever, so you can never start over, but you can always begin again, right? And so, with that being said, that leads into, 3 topics that I want to discuss today. First one is quitting. The second one is failure. And the third is going to be, stress and disease, right? And to me, all 3 of them are connected. So let's go with quitting first, right? And you know me, I want to say an educator, but I don't work for nobody, so I like to educate, so I just say that, right? I don't work for no school or nothing like that, so I can't call myself an educator in the sense, as a professor where I get paid for it, but I like to educate, right? So the first word to say was quitting, right? So I'm gonna give it a definition. Quitting refers to the act of stopping, giving up, resigning from a particular activity, pursuit, job, or goal. It involves voluntary ceasing to continue or participate in something that was previously being pursued or engaged in. That's quitting, right? Failure, right? Failure is the state or condition of not meeting a desirable or intended objective, goal, or expectation. It occurs when one's efforts or actions do not result in the desired outcome. It's important to note that failure is often a temporary setback or a learning experience that can provide valuable insights for future endeavors. So that's failure and quitting, right? So with failure and quitting, and I have this saying that I like to use: failure is a mind state. Failure is a mind state. Failure only exists when you make the decision to quit. I'm gonna say that again for those who didn't hear me in the back. Failure is a mind state. Failure only exists when you make the decision to quit. And to me, quitting is so easy. Don't take anything. Just stop. Right? Quitting is so easy. Don't take anything out of you. Don't require anything from you. I mean, it's so easy and it's so comfortable and it hurts. And it's the type of hurt that you receive not even knowing that it's hurting you, right? It feels so good that you don't even realize that it is causing harm to you. And to take that viewpoint, just imagine how many things that are terrible for you that just feel so good, right? Whether it's drugs, alcohol, a toxic, terrible relationship, it's so many things. that feel good to you, but in the same token, it is detrimental to you. And so these are things that we have to be mindful of with ourselves. You know, and it's one of the things that I like to see and like to say in reference to, you know, identifying who you are, knowing who you are. And with you know, identifying who you are and with knowing who you are, these are ways in which we can grow, right? And the thing about growing is not easy, growing is not comfortable, growing hurts. To me, I like to lift weights, I like to work out. To me, growing is that good hurt. That good hurt. And when I say that good hurt, to where, you know, if you ever somebody lift weights, you know, you lifting and it hurts in the sense of, man, my body is not used to this. This is it's hurt, it's painful, but it's not painful like it's killing me. It's painful like it's changing my body, right? So to me, that's the essence of growing. That is the essence of growing. And you know, with growing, it is painful. It hurts. You know, sometimes, you know, you gonna cry, boo-hoo, snot, tears, and, you know, in and everything, right? But there's gonna be a point to where you able to look back at that and know, man, this is what contributed to me to getting to where I am now. This is what contributed to me to growing into who I am now, to making it to where I am now, to continue to grow into who I'm gonna be, right? All that is a part of growth. And with all that being said, none of that is comfortable. So the question you have to ask yourself, if I am doing this and it feels good, it's not hard, it's easy, it's safe to say that you're not growing. That's just my opinion. It's safe to say that you are not growing, you know, and when we reach, you know, that point, there comes an adjustment. There comes an adjustment. And the thing about an adjustment is something that happens once the natural flow stops, alters the natural flow. Things start to adjust. And we as beings, we experience adjustments not only with the way we think, how our body reacts, how our body operates, and how we react and how we operate, right? And so, you know, one of the things about adjustments, you know, a physical adjustment can cause a mental adjustment, you know, with us, right? And they like, you know, some forms it comes into an adjustment disorder, right? According to the DSM-5, right? An adjustment disorder is something that happens where it can be immediate or it can be some that take place over, you know, 3 weeks to a month, you know, 3 months, you know, to where something happened that caused a mental reaction in you, right? Say like a person in the long-term relationship that they have. You know, girl, I'm over him, I'm gone, boom. Don't want him, don't need him. And she fine. You know, 3 weeks, month later, now starting to have these physical symptoms in reference to, you know, how she thinking, you know, how she feeling, adjustment happen, right? And so when you start looking into it, be like, well, I ain't experienced nothing but a breakup, but now I'm starting to have all these other type of symptoms and things like that that's going on. Or a person lose a job, and next thing you know, they were feeling fine. Now they just starting to have different type of symptoms that's causing issues with it, with how they operate and sleeping and things of that nature, right? Because of an adjustment. And so what we have to do is educate ourselves on certain things, be mindful of those things, but also grow from certain things, right? From certain things, certain situations, and certain people, right? And you know, with adjustments, want to discuss, you know, stress, right? Stress, the one word that we all know better than we want to. The one feeling that we all know better than we want to. Now, I think it's safe to say there will never be anybody in history that want to go down for being known to love stress. Yeah, I don't think that ever happened. Not anybody in their right mind anyway, right? So with stress, you know, stress affects the body. You know, it can be physical, psychological, different types of things. Cause cholesterol issues, digestive issues, increased heart rate, sweating. I mean, anything that the body can do or that can happen to the body, stress can cause. And the thing about that old nasty stress, it will hit you mentally. You ain't thinking about it, or not thinking you're stressed, or having an issue or anything like that. What you're saying mentally, but physically, their body's saying something different, right? You know, the thing about stress, we can't measure it, we can't touch it. You know, it's just one of those things, right? And then the thing about stress can lead to disease. You know, and you say, well, man, how does stress lead to disease, right? Well, the thing about our body, you know, God made the body perfect, right? And when the body is perfect and is running in balance, that's something we like to call homeostasis, right? So the body is functioning, doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's in balance, it's in homeostasis, right? Thing about stress will knock that off. Stress will adjust it. Stress will knock that homeostasis off, right? And so when stress knocks the homeostasis off, what starts to happen? Naturally, the body's perfect. The body's used to running perfect. So what does the body want to do? The body wants to get itself back into homeostasis. So the body is going to start releasing whatever type of cells and chemicals that it need to do to get this body back the way that it needs to be. And what starts to happen, you know, cells start to get injured, you know, organs start to get injured, you know, there becomes this dysfunction that starts to happen with the body, all because of some mental stress that you may recognize or don't recognize that start having physical symptoms on your body. And I am not a doctor. Let me go ahead and say that. Striving to be, but I am not a doctor, right? But this is information that you can Google and read up on, you know, anything. You don't have to take my word for it. But one thing I can tell you, I have had enough stress and strain for me in the next 7 to 10 generations of my lineage, just with me. So if I can't tell you nothing, I can tell you about stress. I can tell you what stress do. I can tell you what stress don't do, and anything far and few between. Right? Thing about stress, man. Stress will send your body into a crisis. Stress will send your body into a crisis. Stress will send you into a crisis. And we live in a day and age to where nobody want to acknowledge that they stress, especially a man, and especially a black man at that. You can see it on them, you can hear it on them, but acknowledging it, man, that's a sin, right? That's a sin. This day and age anyway, because there's this image or myth that we are supposed to uphold, supposed to have. And, you know, me personally, I feel it is extremely unfair, right? Extremely unfair. You know, this day and age anyway. And I'm not saying, hey, let's have no pity party for black men or anything of that nature. but just understanding and having a realization that the black man deals with a lot of things in this world, in this America, right? And let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. All people deal with things in this world. All people deal with ups and downs in this world, that type of thing, right? I can acknowledge things, I can see things from other perspectives, from a woman's perspective, from a man's perspective, from a white woman's perspective, from a Hispanic woman's perspective, from a black woman's perspective. I can see all those type of things because I'm open-minded to where I can view those type of things, where I can place myself in their shoes. I can use empathy in those type of things. So I'm not saying that, no other person or race deals with things. So this is my disclaimer. Let me just put that out there. Because, I like to be informative, and we all know how people is in this world. You make one comment, instead of going right, person want to take two lefts, right? But the thing with that is I can tell you from a black man's perspective because I'm a black man, right? I can empathize with a black woman. I can see a black woman's perspective, but I am not a black woman, right? I can see a Hispanic woman perspective. I can empathize with a Hispanic woman, but I am not a Hispanic woman. So I can give my 2 cents when needed or where it's needed, but my check just ain't gonna cash there. What they say, oh, well, you don't bank, you don't bank her, sir, so you can't cash it there, right? So there's, that's my disclaimer, right? So where was I at? So just in reference to the black man deals with a lot in this America, right? I like to tell people we live in 2 different Americas, that there are 2 different Americas, right? There are 2 different Americas. And I don't want to make this all about race or anything of that nature. I mean, it's 2024. We all know what race is. Racism is. We all know what oppression is. We all know what prejudice is. We all know what they are, but we have a hard time of identifying it this day and age because it has gotten to a point to where it has manifested to things that where we don't even realize that it is what it is, right? Just in reference to, political things, different language and stuff like that that's being used, this council culture that's out there, that's a weapon, just so much. Man, I like to tell people, like to say, the thing you have to understand about the devil is he is not only employee of the month, he's the employee of the year. Don't take a devil. The devil does not call in at all. The devil is the model employee, right? The model employee. And so we have to understand the devil don't take breaks, so we can't at all. And that's a reference to how we operate, the ways that we operate, and have to stay grounded and connected to God, especially when it comes to stress and crisis. Because the thing about stress will have you feeling and thinking things that you never would have felt or thought of. Not only in reference yourself to other people, right? So these are just things, how a mental reaction causes a physical reaction in your body. And, one of the things I like to say, we have to start changing our thought process. Have to start changing our thought process. And this is information that anybody can use, but I'm primarily speaking in reference to black men because I am a black male. We have to start changing our thought process, right? And I'm not no soapbox person, so, don't take it that way. If you feel like your thought process is all right, okay, hey, continue on, sir. Continue on. I ain't mad at you. But for those who know and understand that, they thought process is not where it needs to be, where it's supposed to be, this is some information that you can use, right? So we have to change our thought process. All right, and I say change our thought process, understand that we have a responsibility, but most important, we have to have accountability, right? And to me, they both go hand in hand. So changing that thought process in reference to accountability and responsibility. And one of the tools that I use, right, is changing my vocabulary. And when I say changing my vocabulary, getting rid of try and but out of my vocabulary. I'll say that again. Getting rid of try and but out of my vocabulary. And why do you say that? Thing I tell my sons, why try when you can do? First of all, why try when you can do? Try is a 3-letter word, do is 2. So it's easy to do, right? And then with but ain't nothing but a back door. But ain't nothing but a back door to give yourself a reason and a way out. When something don't go your way, or something don't go your way, or something not going the way on which you expected, or you just want to quit, right? So getting rid of try and get rid of but, that eliminate, a good percentage of our issues, right? That will eliminate a good percentage of our issues, right? Then the next tool, before we get to the next tool, the next thing is dealing with knowing what's on and operating with, right? The thing with are things that occur and that happen. Thing about all are needed. All are needed to develop into the person who you are, who you're going to be, and who you are meant to be. We have to have. You would not be the person who you are if you wouldn't have went through this that you went through, right? You will not be the person who you are going to be unless you go through this that you have to go through to become the person who you are meant to be. That's just how God created it, right? And the thing was, everybody go through this is what develop you into who you are. When you look in the Bible, every great person that God placed en route on their journey to not only show the glory in God, but to help people, all has that they had to go through. All has that helped develop them into who they are, to who they needed to be, right? So if I need to get stronger, I have to go through that are gonna make me stronger, whether it's physically, spiritually, or emotionally. I have to go through those. If I've never lifted 100 pounds, how would I know if I'm strong enough to lift 100 pounds? If I've never lifted weight, how would I know how weight feels? I will have to touch it. I will have to go through it. I'll have to start lifting it to build up to it. Hey, I might not be strong enough to lift it now, but if I continue to go through it, to work at it, to live it, eventually I will build up to the point to where I can lift that 100 pounds. That's physically. Spiritually, if I have to go through these spiritual battles to develop me spiritually, to be more connected with God, to increase my faith, right? And so these are just things that we have to work on, that we have to build on, that we have to go through. And the thing about it is that when we go through them, especially if we ain't physically strong, or mentally strong, or spiritually strong, we'll start going the other direction. We'll start quitting, start failing in things, start failing in people, start failing in ourselves, because we're not strong enough for the. And the only way to be strong enough for the is to go through it. The only way to be strong enough for the is to go through it, right? And the thing about going through this and learning from it, we have to make sure that we maintain a moral vision, right? Maintaining the moral vision. I'm probably saying maintaining the moral vision. What does having a moral vision have to do with that I'm going through? And see, to me, when it comes to And when I say about maintaining that moral vision, we have to maintain the morals, because if we don't maintain our morals, we start to depart, right? We start to depart from the route that we need to go, the route that we want to go. We start selling ourselves and losing ourselves because we're not sound morally. Not sound morally. But morals is going to be something that I'm going to discuss at a later time, you know, and everybody in different places morally, so I'll just say that. But maintaining the moral vision. And your moral vision might not be the same as my moral vision, right? You know, morals are morals, but everybody, something that be morally correct to me may be morally corrupt to somebody else, right? And something that may be morally corrupt to me may be morally correct to somebody else, right? My thing is just doesn't line up with what's right. So that's all I'm gonna say in reference to morals for today. But so to get back into the thing about, sometimes we have some, hey, that's good, and sometimes we have some that are bad, right? And a quote that I like to say out of a book by James Allen, he said, "Only corn come from corn. Only corn come from corn." And what he means by that is only good come from good, only bad come from bad. I cannot do something bad and expect that to have a good result. I can't do something good and expect that to have a bad result. Just not gonna happen. Only good can come from good, only bad can come from bad, right? Only corn come from corn. I can't plant corn and expect broccoli to grow. Not gonna happen. And you may have some people, well, I can do something bad, but it'd be good, or what they call it, the Robin Hood effect. That's just a story. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, people might think, hey man, Robin Hood was good. He was stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. To me, it sounded like Robin Hood was a thief. Because if you was the rich and Robin Hood was stealing from you your money, you wouldn't be thinking he good. So I guess it just depends on what side you sitting on. Because if you poor, man, Robin Hood, do your thing, my boy. But if you was rich, hey, Sheriff, you need to get him. You need to get him, lock him up, right? And so, you know, again, only corn come from corn. Only corn come from corn. So get out we have to get out the mind frame of thinking, well, I need to do this to get here, even if it's morally wrong, but it's gonna get me to where I need to get to. No, it's not. You know, losing your morals, you're selling yourself. And the devil will pay the price for your soul. Well, he gonna pay you what you want. He is gonna pay you what you want, because he knows there's more value in your soul than what you can ever ask for. And everything that he give to you, he know that you ain't ready for. That's why. So what can help us navigate through those tricks and schemes and things of the devil? Having sound morals, developing sound morals, establishing sound morals not only for yourself, but for those who come around you, those who you interact with, right? Especially if you got kids. Especially if you got kids. And I'm gonna get off the subject real quick. In reference, I ain't get off the subject. It's a story, right? I went to the dollar store the other day. Went there to go stop and buy me a piece of candy, something like that. Had a little sweet tooth, right? So I went to go buy me a piece of candy, buy my little girl some candy. And all that. I told her I'd buy a piece of candy if she did good, right? And so, you know, I go in the dollar store, I go in the candy aisle and sitting there looking at the different type of candy. Man, I'm saying, let me see what type of little fruity candy they got, you know, give me a little bag so I can go and eat it, get this little sweet tooth out of the way, be done with it. But while I'm in the candy aisle, see this little boy, he probably like in middle school or something. He probably like in middle school. So, I'm looking for my candy, but I see little cuz, stealing candy, you know. And so, at first when I look over, I'm like, well, is he stealing? I heard, I really didn't just look like he had tucked some candy, right? Then I seen him like tuck two more. Then I say, look at look up. I say, you ain't got to steal it. I say, just whatever you gonna get, get it. I gonna pay for you. And he was like, well, no, this ain't for me. I was like, well, I say, but whoever it's for, I gonna buy it for you. You ain't got to steal it. And so, when I'm saying that, grown man come around the corner. It's his daddy. The boy says for him. And so, and I'm the type of person, my facial expression, gives it away. I'm trying to control it. But, little boy said, it ain't for me, it's for him. And so, I lean my head back, and look at the dude like, you can't be serious. And so the man asked the boy, did you get it? And the little boy looked at me and just walk off. And I looked at the dude and I just shook my head, and at that point, he knew that I knew that he had the little boy stealing candy from him, and I'm not judging nobody or anything of that nature, and I know firsthand that we all go through things, we all have, right? But just because we have, that don't mean we need to plant certain seeds, especially in our kids, right? And when I say plant certain seeds in our kids, why would I plant, a negative seed in my child that's going to grow and manifest way faster than something positive? And this negative seed that I plant in him and her, or him or her, will be detrimental to them within their whole lifespan, right? And so why would I teach my child, hey, yeah, it's okay to steal? And so once they start growing older, they start to understand, well, hey, this seed that my dad planted in me about stealing don't work out with society. This seed that was planted in me done got me locked up in juvenile. This seed that was planted in me that got me incarcerated in prison. Because this seed was planted in me as a child, now I'm an adult and I can't maintain myself in society because I done had these things planted in me as a child that I thought was okay, but it done took me to become grown and have situations to know that they're not, right? So, we have to ask ourselves, and we have to be mindful. Don't go planting these negative seeds. Don't go planting these negative seeds, especially in your children, or anyone else for that fact, because we start doing things because of adversities that we have, and we start to lose our morals because of the things that we go through, because of adversity, right? Man, I remember, adversity. In high school, right? First time I started learning about adversity, playing sports, started learning about adversity, right? Never know what it is until you start going through it, right? Malcolm X had a quote that there's no better teacher than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your performance the next time. That is adversity. That is adversity. Everything that I go through will build me up to get me to where I'm going to be stronger and better the next time around. To where I will be stronger and better the next time around. Right, man? Malcolm was here this time. Still applauding, right? And so, with that being said, I'm going to end with, right, my quote for do not make the man, it reveals the man to himself. Say it one more time. Do not make the man, it reveals him to himself. That is a quote from James Allen. And we all go through things. We all are going to go through things. But the things that we go through are going to show us who we are and what we are. I got another quote, boy, it's a nice one, but I am not going to give it to you. I am not going to give it to you. But my good people, I'm going to get ready to end this because I have some things to do. But always, if you stay tuned, I appreciate you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. You can also send me an email to newleaf.tx@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or some things that you want me to talk about over the stream. But again, I appreciate you. And just always remember, I love you, so does God, right?